outside this room, this people. So you can ask, what's the difference between temperature inside and temperature outside? The temperature inside is higher than the temperature outside. Because if we have 100 degrees Celsius temperature from the sun, if we have 100 degrees Celsius from the sun, and sun hits the entire room like that, with the entire room. The temperature inside, we can assume that it's going to be 55 degrees and outside 75. Why the temperature outside is smaller than the temperature inside the room? Why? Because outside the temperature can be affected due to climate change, due to things that people use, like talking. When you are talking, you are busy releasing, you are basically reducing the temperature from the sun. 100%. Yeah, temperature is affected by anything. Anything can affect temperature. So, the mini heat source means that it's the place where the temperature is highest. It's the place where the temperature is highest, vice versa to the sink, the heat sink, lower temperature is the place where you find the temperature lower. So, is the main point of this topic from the statement of the problem. That's the main point. Anyone will?
Just finish the presentation.
So abstract. In our project, we define our problem and some of the linear partial differential and with its momentum of energy and continuity equation are defined, and we define a numerical method which is spectral method to solve the problem, and some variable like thermal radiation and heat source and some important parameters in the flow are discussed. So the item number 2, which is background. Background is like what's the use or why what's the history of magnetohydrodynamic flow? Magnetohydrodynamic flow is a good problem to learn outside and inside, likely in physicians, mathematicians, and statisticians. So, to learn magnetohydrodynamic flow, if you are a mathematician, firstly, if you fail to understand the Navier-Stokes equations and then the background of Navier-Stokes equation, you are wrong. So firstly, you must understand the Navier-Stokes equations and all the basics and all the theories there in order to understand what's the meaning of flow. So, in background, I can define maybe 2 things. On top, there's a word viscosity and the word incompressible fluid. So, if you fail to understand the Navier-Stokes theory, you can't answer these questions. You can't know what the meaning of viscosity. You can't know what the meaning of incompressible fluid. So, in order for you to know the meaning of viscosity, a viscosity is where, like this example, a viscosity is a free stream without any disturbance. If there is no disturbance in your stream or in your flow, we call it this flow viscosity flow. It's easy. So the word incompressible fluid. The word incompressible fluid is already proven from Navier-Stokes equations theory. Like, let's assume we have continuity equation, energy equation, and a momentum equation. So the word incompressible fluid means the density along the model, because in a Magnetohydrodynamic flow we use three equations from Nadia's equation, which are continuity and momentum and energy equation. If you fail to know this terminology, you are gone. So the way incompressible means the density is constant along all the way along the flow. The density is constant through the flow, along the flow. We assume that the density is constant through along the flow. So, in other words, the magnetohydrodynamic flow uses nonlinearity boundary value problems, which I mentioned before here. Continuity, the first one is continuity, continuity and energy equation and momentum equation. We are going to subheading number 3, the purpose of the study. The purpose of the study is to investigate the effects of thermal radiation and heat source on the magnetohydrodynamic flow near stagnation point over a spreadsheet sheet. So we are going to investigate the effects. What's the effect if we have two independent variable, which are thermal radiation and heat source? Is any affection through our flow if we have these two things? We are going to check that. We are going to investigate, in other words. Then we are going to subheading number 4, aims and objective of the study. Firstly, aims of the study is to find out a numerical solution of magnetohydrodynamic boundary layer flow near stagnation point over a spreadsheet sheet with thermal radiation and heat source. So at the end, what's the meaning of that? We have 3 equations, which are continuity, momentum, and energy equation. So we are going to play around to those figures so that we can find a numerical solution of magnetohydrodynamic flow. Then after we can check how they behave. So we can conclude, you can come with the nuisance numerically. The objectives of the problem, we seek to see how magnetohydrodynamic flow affected by the presence of the thermal radiation and heat source. Thermal radiation and heat source, mathematically we guess, they are going to change the flow of general magnetohydrodynamic flow. They have affection through the flow, so we are going to see that. And to be able to apply recent development numerical techniques to generate approximating of velocity and temperature flow. Through when we check we have 3 equations. These 3 equations, they have 2 independent variables, which are velocity and temperature. So we are going to check the profile after generating the scheme. We are going to check